know what I'm doing. Hey, like this doesn't look like anything that I'm used to seeing and all the things, but I think that's where God really does his best work. I know that's my testimony, that he did his best work through us feeling inadequate, through us feeling like this is different, this is unique, like this doesn't exist. Through number one reason why people leave God is disappointment.
Yeah.
Disappointment is poison to the life of any believer.
What's up, beautiful people? I know that you're having a great and glorious day. Listen, I am super excited about this episode of the Unstoppable Visionary Podcast. We got Pastor Kendall McDowell from Revival Now Global Church in Greensboro, North Carolina. He is dropping gem after gem, jewel after jewel. He is sharing with us a story, how he got started, and then what it looks like to be unstoppable when things are coming along the way trying to stop you every single time. And so I'm excited about this episode. I know that you will be blessed and encouraged by this episode. Make sure to like, share, comment, leave a question down below so that we can get you plugged into what we got going on. And we want you to know that we are listening and we are here for you. So let's get right into today's episode. I know you'll be blessed. I know you'll be encouraged. Let's get it. So before we dive all the way into like these deeper questions, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you got going on, and
the name's Kendall McDowell. Get the honor of firstly being a husband and a father of one baby girl. Probably the greatest joy of my life is my family. Next to that is ministry. I get to serve as a lead pastor in Greensboro, North Carolina. Shout out to Revival Now Global Church. Amazing group of people, amazing body of people. I am a songwriter, a recording artist. I came from the education field, so it's always something that a lot of people don't know about me. I spent 10 years in education before going into full-time ministry, and so I have a deep passion for equipping, learning, training, teaching. It's definitely a bend of mine. And most importantly, above all of that, I am a son of God. And I'm most proud of that. Yeah. That's me.
How old is your little girl?
She's 1. Oh, no, she's not. She's 2. Lord have mercy.
You got a 2-year-old.
I now understand what it's like having kids and like forgetting ages. Because it's like, she's not 1. She just turned 2, November the 11th. So she's freshly 2. But in my heart, she's just my baby. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I want her to be 1 forever. You know what I mean?
Got you wrapped.
Oh yeah,
It's there, all the way there.
That's my baby. Everybody says she looks like me, so I take it. You know, that's my girl. Yeah.
He's recently become a girl mom.
I'm not a mom. I'm not a mom.
Oh.
I'm definitely not a mom.
Wow.
I'm definitely not a mom. I'm definitely a dad. This is not a mom
Not a mom.
situation. This is definitely a
I
dad.
stand
mom.
corrected.
not a
am recently a girl mom.
There you
are
go.
A girl dad.
Yes.
And did you know a couple of years ago, he got the Dad of the Year
I
award?
did.
Really?
Yes.
I did.
That's awesome.
did.
Wait, how old is your daughter?
She is 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Then you came out the gate as Dad of the Year?
Well, it's because they had pity for me. Okay. Because she came with friends. She came with 2 brothers. So she's a triplet.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so, I just feel like they're like, you Dad of the Year because you didn't leave. Okay.
I know that's right.
You didn't
Y'all
run
had
away.
3 kids
and
at
you're
one
an
time.
amazing dad.
So y'all
Let's
had
tell the
3
truth.
kids at one time?
She carried 3 human beings
So
at
we have
one
a
time.
14-year-old and
Yes.
then a 14-year-old son, and then we have triplet 3-year-olds. They just turned 3 last week.
Yeah.
This ain't I got questions, but this ain't my show. This ain't my show.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Listen, I always say we have a plan, but
Facts.
it is just like at church. They say it's subject to change. This is God's thing.
Yeah.
We're God's people, and my prayer is he has space to stretch out.
Amen.
In whatever. I don't want him confined. You know how like you be in a car that's too small, like them little mini cars, and you trying to fit. Like I don't want God to feel like he has to fit in our plans.
Wow.
But like there's space to stretch out. And,
Yes.
It's wonderful.
You know, so
That's wonderful.
yeah, triplets, bro.
Wow. Yes, all the way.
Wow.
But
So
baby
I
girl
understand,
got
but
it.
I understand she's the only girl
Okay.
in the fam.
Yeah.
The only little girl. And so she definitely has my heart. So
I bet.
I'm like,
I bet.
golly. And we prayed for her for so long. Like we prayed specifically for her.
Okay.
To come through.
Yeah.
And she came through, with a squad with bodyguards. I was like,
like what?
I love that. Wow.
yeah. Yes. But we're not here to talk about us.
I love it.
Yeah.
So are you from Greensboro? Or are you from that area? Where are you from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. From Greensboro. I was born in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So my dad is you too?
Kip LeJeune?
What?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go. I
Whoa.
love it. I don't meet people
Okay.
like
Yeah,
yes.
same.
Yes.
My dad was in the Marine when he met my mama.
Yep.
Marines when he met my mom.
Okay.
My mom's from Jacksonville area. A few years after that,
Yeah.
we moved to
Yep.
Greensboro. Been there ever since. My dad's family is from Greensboro. So
Yep.
when he left the military, we went back to Greensboro.
That's wild. So similar similar story. My dad was in the Marines,
Okay.
but he actually met my mom in the Monroe, Charlotte area. And so after
okay.
the Marines, we moved up here. And so Charlotte is home,
Okay. Wonderful.
but born in Jacksonville. But actually, my grandfather, though, my father and my grandfather, they spent time in Greensboro. In high school, my father went to Greensboro Page.
My dad went to Page.
Okay.
What?
We cousins.
We cousins. I'm saying that's wild. That is wild. I spent seeing my grandfather up there, and
I
that's
taught
wild.
at Page.
Wow.
I did. I taught civic literacy at Page.
Come on. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Small world. All right. See, we already know each other. You know, I love it. I love it.
That's wild. I
That's
love
so
it.
funny. And see, before he was like, I didn't even get a chance to do any research. I don't even. I'm like, bro, I already told you what I know. I just felt like God said, ask the man to come be on the podcast.
I love it. I love it.
Wow.
I mean, the reality is, though, it's God's heart. And so I already knew it was God's heart here. Because I'm like, oh, man, when I heard the song and I was like, that's the song.
So that's
anyway.
So
We're jumping all over the place,
had
but-
That's all right.
been, I don't know how I ended up. Somehow I ended up just one day downloading all the albums you had on
Oh, Jesus.
on Apple Music. I don't know what song I had originally heard you on or what it was, but for whatever reason, that particular day, I just went and looked for all the stuff you had on Apple
Wow.
Music and just started listening to it on my commute. But the one song that really honestly, I haven't even made it through the whole album that I started listening to yet.
Okay.
Because I'm stuck on Right Here.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, that thing, it put me in a chokehold and I'm in the car crying. And it's like, this song right here, like,
Wow.
this
Yeah,
is
special.
it. But then at the end of the song, you talk about the word doxa. And I was like, nobody ever talks about doxa. Like, and I sent it to my husband. I was like, wait till you get to the end of the song, because that's a word that's near and dear to our hearts. Like, God has been like crafting something in our hearts called, can I say what it's called?
You can do whatever you want. It's your show.
It's called Doxa District.
Oh, I love that.
And so we're still kind of exploring what all of that looks like for us. Originally, we thought it was a coffee shop.
Okay.
But then, like, it's like God's been evolving, like, in our hearts what it actually is. So then it went from coffee shop to a co-working and coffee shop.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great business model. Yeah.
Now it's a community maybe, but maybe
wow.
still tied to
Okay.
co-working that happens to have coffee in it. I don't know. We're just,
Wow.
it's it's in our hearts and it's still stirring. We don't know what it is.
Wow.
So when you started talking about Dotsa, like, I was like, hold on, like, this is not right. And I've had the song on repeat, other than the songs that they're trying to make me lead on Sunday.
So funny. So really funny. Literally, I was on the phone with a friend of mine. This was last week, and I probably hadn't listened to that album. That album came out in 2018, 2019. Wow.
For real?
Yeah, that recording was 2017.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the whole story with that. But I hadn't listened to it in a couple years. I'm kind of weird about listening to myself. But anyway, I hadn't listened to it in a couple years, and we went, literally, I was on the phone with a friend, and we literally went down just memory lane listening to the album, and I was just like, wow, like, it's still so good. Like, it's just as fresh and potent as it was. I remember when God gave it to me. So that just happened last week.
Wow.
So you saying that, I'm like, wow. Like, my friend was like, you need to re-record this stuff. I'm like, I don't know about all that, but
I mean, it don't need to be re-recorded.
It was good. It's good.
It's fresh to me, and
Yeah,
it doesn't. It's not dated.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, it's a fresh sound, and
Praise
I'm like,
God. Praise God.
you know, if they convince me to, like, keep singing later on, like, months down the line, I'm like, I want to do this song. Like, it's
it's
amazing.
funny you say that too, because I remember when the Lord gave me the title for the album. It's called Sound of Now. He told me that. He said that this sound will always be present whenever it's played, because now is the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so whether it's 7 years later, it's still the sound of now. You know, and so the freshness of it, the glory that's on it. I mean, it's that night was just. I've never experienced a worship experience like that night. And I'm not just saying that because it was like, anybody that was there that night will tell you, it really marked the beginning of everything that's happening in my life now. That's how significant that night was. It was a 5-hour live recording.
Wow.
And what's not captured on that, and of course video and all that stuff, we didn't have none of that then, or at least it wasn't as important then. But what's not captured on the record is how long we were on our faces crying out to God after that song was released. And it pushed us into a space in God where we were just hungry. My team at the time, Raw Worship, shout out to everybody in Raw Worship. The plan was to record the album and release it in a few months. And I remember something happening to me that night. I'll never forget. It was October 20th, 2017. My first live recording, and I'm thinking, nobody's going to show up. Nobody's going to know these songs. Why would they come? You know, all these things. I'm dealing with all of that stuff. And 700 people showed up that night. Over 18 churches from the region were represented. Wow. And it says something to me. I'm like, okay, for people to come in on a Friday night to listen to songs that they've never heard before, and for us to have the kind of experience that we had, I'm like, this is so far beyond numbers for me. Like, this represents something that God wants to do in this region. And so I took it to prayer, and I was like, God, what do you want to do? Like, I know what my plans are. I know, how special that night was, but like, what do you want to do? I just had this impression that the Lord wanted to start something. And so from there, a few months later, I called a good friend of mine, her name's Psalmist Rain, and I was sharing with her the heart that I had just for revival and just seeing, God move in our region. And God had been dealing with her about the same thing in her region up in the Chicagoland area. And she was like, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to help you plow some ground. Wow. And we're going to see what God does. And she came. She brought her whole team down to Greensboro, March of 2018. And we started. That night was the beginning of a series of worship revival nights that happened in Greensboro. We would gather hundreds of people from around the region. It got to the point that folks were flying in from all kinds of places just to be a part of what God was doing. Wow. And it was literally nothing more, nothing less than us gathering around the ark to encounter the presence of God. And my prayer was that those that would come to this atmosphere to be refreshed would take that fire back to their local church. That was the heart.
Yeah.
because we were noticing like the kind of people that would be drawn to these gatherings were pastors and worship leaders and creatives, and we're like, man, there's an assignment that this gathering has to pour into the life of those who are called to pour into the life of the church. And so we did that for 2 years.
Wow.
We traveled with it. We did crusades. We went to Cleveland. We went to Orlando, Florida. I mean, it was, those 2 years were just, oh my God. And when I tell you miracles, signs, wonders, like documentable stuff, like what happened, like the way that God would meet us in our meetings. I mean, everything from the restoration of marriages to, you know, women and men being told that they wouldn't have babies to becoming pregnant. And I mean, just the power of God and what the supernatural that was being released over us across those 2 years. I still get chills just thinking about it, because it was such a real, raw, authentic move of God, and that birthed the church. I didn't know. We were just being obedient. Like we weren't on a mission to, start a body of people, a church. We were just being obedient and flowing with the Spirit of God. In fact, we did that for 2 years, and I moved to Orlando, Florida. And I didn't have any intentions of coming back to Greensboro. My wife and I, fiance at the time, we were there in Orlando attending our church, Deeper Fellowship Church there. And we were going to fly back and forth. We had plans in 2020 to fly back and forth to North Carolina for these gatherings, because at this point it would have been our third year. And I'll never forget, we had our first gathering planned March of 2020. My brother David Wilford was coming in, and we were going to start the year out with just these amazing monthly gatherings. And pandemic hit. And we had to cancel the event. My wife and I were set to get married the next month. So it was just a lot going on. And I remember my pastor called me at the time. My pastor called, and he's like, hey, I just want you to know, what are you guys planning to do with Revival Now? And we're like, well, the plan was to fly back and forth every month. Like, we had all this momentum, and things were happening. It had become a community at this point. It wasn't just a gathering; it was a community. We were meeting online every week for prayer. We had over 500 people in an online prayer group that we were meeting with every year. And then we had we would do like pop-ups in the city, literally like 5 a.m. prayer gatherings in coffee shops, and it was a movement. And so we're like, man, we got all this stuff planned that we're getting ready to do. And it's like this pandemic hit, and we're like, well, we don't really know. And my pastor told us, he said, hey, I want you guys to really pray, because he's like, I feel like this pandemic thing that everybody thinks is going to be over in a couple weeks, it's going to be here for a minute. And he was like, I think you guys need to really pray, seek the Lord fast, and find out what it is that he actually wants you to do. Because he was like, I have a feeling that you guys are going to go back to Greensboro as a answer when this is all said and done.
How did you respond? Were you
we at this point we are literally a month married, so we're just enjoying marital bliss. We're not thinking about nothing outside of the gatherings. We're like, man, we're in Orlando. We love it in Orlando. Like, we're like, hey, this is great. Like, we're not going nowhere. All the things. And I always say this. And forgive me if I'm talking too much. I don't do these a lot.
Great.
Good.
I believe my wife and I are a sign of what it looks like to do as the scripture says, to take delight in the Lord, and he'll give you the desires of your heart. We had no desire to pastor. And that's not shade towards pastoring, because we love it. But it just wasn't a desire. It was not in us. We did not, our conversations weren't around starting churches. You know what I mean? We loved the presence of God. We loved God's people. And we knew we wanted to serve the local church. That was, without question. But starting a church was just like, no, like we had never had, really thought about it. But we were open, and we were willing for God's desire to become our desire. And our delight in him, and it just our desire to want to be intertwined and deeply connected with what he wants out of us, drew us into desire to start a church. And it's his desire. I tell people all the time, it's his desire. And so that's why when people say, like, when they're even back to when we talk about the sabbatical, I'm like, man, this is God's church. Like, I didn't start this church out of my desire. I started it out of God's desire.
Yeah.
And so I believe the same way that things start is the way that it's sustained.
I agree.
And so
That's
I've got to
good.
remember that this is about him. This is
Yeah.
about what he wants to do. So that's why I don't get caught up in all the, church planting kind of things and that comes along with, growth and all this. So not there's anything wrong with it, because I believe God's church is supposed to grow. But the point that I'm making is like, I don't get caught up in all of the things that come along with doing this, because I'm constantly being reminded that I did not start this. He
That's so
did.
good.
And so he's making it move at his speed. He's
Yeah.
making it move at the speed that he desires for it to move. And so that's the story of my life. It's just being submitted. When we're talking about songs, we're talking about
I
it's
feel
being
like
submitted.
there's a segment of us people
This is so
that
good.
is like, cut the lies. We don't want to talk anymore.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah.
There's a segment of us that are like, no.
Wow.
Yes, Lord, but no.
Absolutely.
But yes, but Lord, please, no.
Yeah,
Don't,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Man, that's the story. The story is resonates so like heavy with me. I think with us in a lot of ways, because it's like we've currently been in a place where we feel like God is calling us for something bigger, but not a but. There's been hesitation because we don't want it to look like what we've already been through,
Sure.
or what even some examples that we've seen, and we're like, if God's calling us to pastor in any kind of way, the examples that I've seen are extremely like life draining.
Okay.
They don't
This
typically.
conversation is taking a
It
turn.
is, but
This
but
is
listen,
nowhere on
listen,
the I know I
listen.
said you could stretch out, Lord.
Listen,
But this is not what we came to
That is
talk
not what
about.
we came to do.
I'm just expressing. We're gonna get back to the questions,
My
okay?
God.
I'm just saying though, like there's we have conversations often. It's like, God, we just want to do what you want us to do.
Yeah.
We just want
Yeah.
to follow your lead, and we'll say yes. We say yes. That's all our life is about. And if he's like, hey, I want you to the context to look like this, fine. I don't think he's calling us to have it look like a typical context
Yeah,
of
sure.
what church is, because it typically it's not as healthy as I believe the church should be.
Sure.
The leaders, it's all rested on one
Sure.
person. They overwhelmed, they overworked, doing most of the work. The people, there are a handful of people doing all of the work. And I'm like, God, is this how it's supposed to be? We go, we travel overseas and on mission trips, and people are hungry for the gospel, like walking miles and miles, and come back to the States, and people are just like, I didn't have coffee today, and so I'm not coming back.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just like, bro, what is happening? Like, we're missing it, and so, yeah.
I mean, man, that's so good what you're saying. And I remember being in that exact place because, I came from 17 years of leading worship. In fact, like, to be truthfully honest with you, my first time preaching a real sermon was as the pastor of my church.
Wow.
So
That
you're
had
talking
to be
about
terrifying.
Whoa.
You're talking about being thrown into the fire.
yeah.
Like, thrown into it. And I mean, obviously what that creates is a deep level of dependence on the Lord.
Yeah.
Because I did not have confidence in my gift.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can be so confident in our gifts that it leaves no room for the Lord to actually be God. I remember the Lord said to me, if you don't need me, then what is this even about?
Yeah.
What is this for? So I think life, a lot of times, a yielded life looks like God consistently putting us in situations and putting before us moves of faith that actually push us to be dependent on him. You know what I mean? That's just the reality. And so I started preaching, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I felt like I needed all this help and all these things. And the Lord's like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you do it. I felt like you. I felt like what God was calling us to do with our church, like me and my wife were together. We were in sync with this. We're like, man, it just does not look like what we've seen. At least not in our area. It just didn't look like what we had seen. So we knew God had called us to do something that was unique, biblical, right? Because I'm a firm believer. I don't think we're supposed to do church different. I think we're supposed to do church biblically.
Of course.
But the method in which we may do that may differ, right? And like, I remember like us just being like, Lord, this doesn't look like anything we've seen. And I remember that the Lord shared with me that whenever you're doing something unprecedented, it's not about having something to follow. Sometimes it's about positioning yourself to be the thing that everybody else will follow. So I felt like the Lord wanted to sacrifice us as an example. He wanted to raise us up as an example so that we would become the templates that other people would study. You know, sometimes we're looking for a template and God's like, I want to make you one. It's like looking for a miracle. And God's like, it's like when you're looking for a miracle and God's like, hey, I want you to actually be evidence of the miracle. You know what I mean? And so I know what it's like to just fully be dependent and yielded to the Lord and like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing. Hey, like this doesn't look like anything that I'm used to seeing and all the things, but I think that's where God really does his best work. I know that's my testimony, that he did his best work through us feeling inadequate, through us feeling like this is different, this is unique, like this doesn't exist, through us feeling like, because let me also speak to this, like, you know, I always say this, I think the best example of good leadership is being shown what not to be. I would say much of what makes me the leader I am today is because I didn't always have great examples of good leadership. Taking a 6-week sabbatical was because I never saw it done. And I saw what not doing it did to the leader.
That's facts.
So when I became a leader, I was like, oh, absolutely not. I'm resting, right? And I fought with it, like, you know, I'm a hyper leader, so you know I'm very involved with things. I'm a creative to an extent, you know. So because of that, I'm wired to go. I have a go-getting type thing that is pretty uncommon, you know, no pun intended. And so I have to fight, you know what I mean? I wrestle with that, but I have to tell myself, like, dude, it's okay. Like, slow down, sit down somewhere, you know what I mean? And I've got people around me that will tell me that as well, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you ready to get back?
Back what? I'm hanging on now.
She's just hanging on for dear life right now.
Dear life.
No, I mean,
Dear life,
I think
dear
I think it's again, it's one of those things where these kind of conversations is encouraging to us because it's like that's exactly how we feel. Like we feel like it's like, God, there's something there. Words have come, confirmations have come. What do you want? Is exactly what you want us to do? I don't know. There's no model that we see exactly, and it's like, okay, God.
Man, we had for like a span of 2 months up until we finally was like, all right, Lord, whatever you want to do, fine, whatever. We don't know what you're saying to do. We're just saying whatever you want to do, fine. Yes, we'll do it. But up until that point, which was like maybe a month or two ago, there was like a span of time of like 2 months where literally there was like 6 or 7 different pastors that we knew that would randomly come up to us, including our own pastor.
Wow.
We're like, sir, we're at your church. Like, we're not going anywhere. Like, but like God was sending these people to give us words about pastoring, and we're like, what are y'all talking about? Like, what? It was like they were talking another language. Like, what does that even mean? Like, at this point, we've pastored before in a past season.
Right. This was about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
About 8 years ago, we pastored my father's church.
Okay.
So here in Charlotte for a couple years while he ran for Congress.
Oh, wow.
And so when that ended, we said, we don't want to do that anymore.
Okay.
That's not exactly what we said, but we did say here you can
Yes.
just take it back.
Gladly.
And we exited out. We continued doing the work with the nonprofit that we started called Hope Vibes, and just kind of focused on that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
in that time, though, we've built other things like Give Hope Daily, which is geared towards like more so movement building, encouraging and strengthening other leaders of nonprofits or people who have like a pull or a sense of calling into creating some type of social impact endeavor, providing support and guidance for that. And out of that came Unstoppable Visionary recently. But we also do other things, like he loves coffee all of a sudden. He used to hate coffee and now he loves it.
Okay.
Yes.
And so like this year, maybe a few months ago, he started doing something called the Big Drip Revival. Oh. And it's a meetup at coffee shops and Christian hip hop music.
Wow.
Opportunity for
Love
community, do some Bible trivia, have some good coffee. The one we had last week, it was good. This was the first time we've had a live worship set. So we've had a live DJ, but live worship set, and it was good because it was like, okay, hold on, like, oh shoot, like there's a shift in the room. This could take a turn, and we could all end up on the floor. I ain't mad about it, but like, oh, okay, God, like, what are you doing? So it's just been an interesting journey for us, and we're like, okay, God, you're calling us to do whatever you're calling us to do. In some ways, in terms of that side of things, we're like, well, we don't fit the script of what your typical pastor looks like.
Sure.
We embrace that we're still pastors, even though we're not currently senior pastors at a church. We love serving at our church here.
Right.
And secondary leadership, that feels good. That feels healthy. It also feels comfortable.
Yeah.
But then there are other sides of us too that's like, okay, God, what are you doing? Like the whole worship thing. Like, I'm kind of, far removed from that. You know what I'm saying? I like the same background. That's comfortable. But over the years, I've gotten words about that too. And I'm like, maybe those weren't really from God. They were just, maybe they just think I look like a worship leader.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Just say it.
No.
So have you ever had to deal with like, okay, you got these words from like your pastor, for example, and in that moment, did you feel like I'm not that yet, so I've got to prepare, or just no, I'm not that? Like, were you receptive to when he gave you those instructions?
I was receptive. I was receptive because I trusted my pastor. Just to be very honest with you. I respect and I honor him deeply. And so for him to inconvenience his day and FaceTime me and my wife randomly, I knew to take that serious. I knew that this was not just a clever idea on his part. I knew that this wasn't just like he didn't have nothing else better to do. I knew that he was inviting us into obedience.
And this is like the deeper church, like William McDowell?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are y'all like related?
No. Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know. We think so.
That's the church. I know. Okay. Yeah. Just making sure. Just making you knew. Like, it's the William McDowell.
So, I trusted him. And so my trust in my leader is what drew me into my surrender. Because I knew that my leader knew me. I trusted that he had a handle on my future.
I mean, I trust my leaders too, but destiny. I'd be like, sir, ma'am.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that like I'm not saying that it was instant. You know what I mean? I think over time, as my wife and I submitted it to prayer and we spent time with God with this idea, I think over time I knew that, first of all, my pastor to that moment had never sent anyone out from his church.
Wow.
Not because he couldn't, but his church at the time was still fairly young, and so I knew that this was a brand new thing. Like, this isn't ambitious at all. This has to be the Lord.
Yeah.
And so this is my trust in him, and that drew me into surrender. And then over time the Lord began to show us stuff. That's the thing, is that the vision started to come. That's when I knew God was speaking, because he never speaks a word without giving instruction. Like, he gave us literal strategy and how we would start this church. I mean, down to, we had this whole thing in our colloquialism where we would say, like, we would follow the cloud. And it's obviously a play on Moses' journey, and how every time the tent of meeting would move, Moses would pack up and go wherever the cloud was, wherever the presence of God would go. And so we shared that with our initial team, our founding team, when we started the church, and we're like, hey, because I remember I told you guys we were online for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's not because we planned it that way. It's because we were surrendered to the cloud, and the cloud hovered over that space for 2 years. We did not feel like we had a release. So we didn't have a traditional kind of your typical church launch strategy. Like, we didn't have, like, most times people start a church, nothing wrong with it. I think it's amazing. Just wasn't our story. People start a church, they have a start date or whatever, coming January 2035, you know what I mean? And it's like, we didn't have that. We were just like, hey, we're starting a church. We're coming back to the city. If you're interested in helping us, come on. We're going to do this interest meeting on this day. And we told everybody at that interest meeting, it was like, we don't know when we're going to start officially. We don't know when we're going to start having gatherings. We just know that we're assigned to the ministry of prayer right now. So we spent 2 years praying.
Wow.
Praying and discipling. That's it. That's all we had. That was the only instruction we had from the Lord, was to lay a foundation of prayer over this house, bathe it in prayer. And we surrendered to that. And it wasn't until April of 2022 that we finally started our physical expression of our church. And even then, we went into our launch service April 3rd of 2022. 30 minutes into the service, the room is packed. We've got about 280 people that's in the room. It's wonderful. I mean, as you can imagine, the momentum is high. We're excited, and it's the moment we've been praying for. We're here. We're getting ready to gather every week. Like, we feel like an official church now, other things. And 30 minutes into the service, our electricity went out. And there's a picture in my office at our church of our worship team. Everybody is just on the floor. It's laid out before the Lord. I mean, dark. Like, it's a warehouse building. It's dark in here. We're having to pull out flashlights, open the doors, to get some light in the room. And nobody asked any questions.
Wow.
And I think because there was never an ambitious desire to do a thing, our church has always modeled what it looks like to adapt. To just be surrendered to whatever the Lord does.
Yeah.
So 30 minutes to the service, we got this powerful worship set. My friend Tamala Harrison's there. She's killing. I mean, she's screaming. I mean, with all the glory in her lungs, and electricity goes out. We're like, what else do we do other than bow? And like, hey, God, like, take control. Like, however you want to do this. We had a plan.
Yeah.
But we're like, hey, interrupt it. I think the only thing we did that day was that 30-minute set. We spent time on our faces crying out to God. I think I got up and I just started praying. And then I told him, bring the podium out. I preached from the floor.
Yeah.
My first sermon, official sermon in our church, and a physical form of our expression, was preaching on the floor with no notes, because I didn't have access to Wi-Fi. And I preached what was in me.
Yeah.
And folks got healed that day. It was powerful. Saved that day. It was powerful. It was powerful. And I knew then, I was like, okay, this is a church that I can see myself pastoring. One that is fully surrendered and yielded to whatever the Lord wants to do at any given moment. We will never let our programs dictate his presence.
I love the fact that you were still prepared.
Yeah.
Did all the preparation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And was ready to, and
interrupt
obviously
it.
we're like, hey, God,
Yeah.
you're even in the preparation. You're
Absolutely.
in this.
Yeah.
But it's like, God, no.
Interrupt it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's your thing. You
Yeah.
know, I believe that everything in the kingdom, everything rides on the waves of preparation. You know, God honors our preparation. I don't think it means be lazy. You know, yeah. I remember I used to get on worship leaders back in the day. We'd be like, "Oh, we gonna flow today," and that just seemed like it was just a way to just not rehearse. And it's like that ain't what that means. You know what I mean? Like we gonna still prepare because this is a part of what gives us trustworthiness before the Lord. You know, he trusts us because we actually spend time in preparation beforehand. And he is invited to interrupt it and disrupt it however he sees fit because it's his thing. We're in his presence. He's not in ours.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
good.
So, I'm a firm believer in that. Lord, you can wreck it at any given moment. You do whatever you want to do, you know, for real. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Man. Get the altar sheets and just
The glory.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say at this point.
I was about to say, how you gonna jump in?
Since you mentioned the glory, when you speak about Doxa, what does the glory actually mean to you in everyday life?
Well, you know, glory is the manifested presence of God. I think glory in everyday life looks like, I think it looks like, can I tell you what it doesn't look like?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you what it doesn't look like. Performance. The reason why I want to say that first is because I think that if glory is the manifestation of God's presence, it's the outcome of God's presence. It is the thing that we actually get to enjoy. And I think that it's important to know that there's no performance in God's glory, because if we perform in God's glory, we'll never actually fully experience it because it was birthed from authenticity. And so authenticity should always beget authenticity, you know? And so I think glory is when God enters into a moment and whatever existed before it no longer can stand. You know, I'm reminded of the kind of glory that existed in the scriptures when the idol of Dagon had fallen. The scripture says that the closer the Dagon got to the glory, the more it couldn't stand in the presence. It couldn't stand where the glory was. I think that what that speaks to is God's glory is exclusive in whatever environment it's in. When you know that you've had glory when there's nothing else you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When there's nothing else you want, when there's nothing else that you desire, when there's nothing else that has your focus, that's when you know the glory of God's in a place. That's when you know the glory of God is on a person's life. I think in a person's personal, individual life, the glory looks like, if all I have is God, he's enough. You know?
Yeah.
I remember when I graduated to that point in my walk with the Lord, and it was, you know, obviously in my adult years, when I realized, like, man, literally, as the songs have said, as the scriptures have said, I've heard it countless times, heaven and earth will pass away.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not just a churchy statement.
Yeah.
It is true that, like, whatever this life has to provide us, it's fleeting. It's passing. But the one thing that we get to experience that does not have an expiration date is the manifested presence of God, his glory, he himself, the Christ, his person, his nature, his spirit, his power. That's the one thing that does not expire. And so I feel like when we get to that point, when we graduate to a point in our faith where we realize that, man, if you never give me what I've prayed for, if I don't get to do all the things that I've dreamed of doing with my life, if I don't drive the nicest cars and live in the best house, if I never get married, if I never have children, if I never, obviously there's a laundry list of things that we could go down. The glory has impacted you the moment you can say to all of that, if I don't get any of that, he is enough. He is enough. I know when the glory of God is illuminating off of someone's life, when nothing else compares to simply having him. That's it.
Yeah.
If I have him, I have everything, And I think it was in that moment that I felt like the Lord could trust me with real big leaps of faith, like starting a church or recording a record or whatever. Me and my wife, we had we had a struggle, for lack of a better word, with our first kid. It took us 2 years to have our first child. Both of us had gone to the doctor, and I found out that I had some form of male factor infertility. It wasn't a guaranteed thing that I could not have kids, but what was stacked against me, essentially the condition that I had, could prevent me from having kids. And so we chose obviously not to believe that report, and we trusted God and was like, God's going to do it and all the things, and obviously he did it. But the point I'm making is we knew that if we were going to truly see a miracle, it was going to start with us not wanting that more than him. And I think sometimes we can be miracle junkies. Hey, Jesus couldn't even go to his hometown, and be respected and revered and honored because of what was on his life. He couldn't do many miracles there. Didn't say he didn't do any at all, but he couldn't do a lot of them. Because some could say maybe they didn't have faith. There could be some that say maybe they treated him too common. They were too familiar with Jesus. This was his hometown. Some could also say that maybe there wasn't a lot of miracles there because people wanted the miracle more than they wanted him. And I think that when it's all said and done, like, what I want to be said of my life before the Lord was that this world meant nothing to me. That's what I want to be said. Want to be said of me is that this world and everything in it meant nothing to me. Paul said, I count it all as rubbish. Rubbish. When we compare it to God, to Christ, it's rubbish. This stuff is trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's Paul's like, this is trash. This world is trash compared to Christ. And so, I know it's a long answer, but
that's great.
It's a reminder. It's a reminder for me, especially because when you see the circumstances, right? You see the things that's going on. You see your bank account. You see the needs. You're like, I need a miracle. I need a miracle. And you start looking for the miracle. Then you go to God for the miracle instead of just going to God for him.
That's right.
And
That's
so
right.
it's like this
That's right.
hard place to like you're like, God, and especially if you know it, you're like, God, I just want to be in your presence, and whatever happens, okay, my God, that could be hard for some people, like especially in an Americanized, consumer-driven culture. That same consumerism is in the church.
Oh yeah.
In a lot of ways, and it's like, you want to. It's almost like having to look for the thing instead of the one who is the producer of the thing.
That's good.
So
That's good. That's good. Well, it's because we live in a generation that's infatuated with tangible things. We need evidence for everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a part of the nature of God is to actually defy human sense. And so when we expect a God who is divine, who is not human, right, to have a human way of doing things,
Yeah.
we really miss the point. It's like he's not supposed to make sense. Everything about God's not supposed to make sense to us, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the generation we live in. We want everything to make sense. We want everything to be tangible. We want everything to be, facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's got to be provable. Everything's got to be. Somebody asked me one time. They were like, this was an unbeliever. They were like, so tell me, like, how can you believe in a God if you can't like prove that he actually exists? Like, speaking like tangibly, like,
Right.
like he's not this thing. Like, obviously his mind wasn't comprehending the concept of God.
Yeah.
And I said to him, it was very simple. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I have faith that there is a God. I really believe that there is a God. I believe in the God that I serve and the God of the Bible that I follow. And I said, I am okay with hoping that I'm right.
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm okay with hoping that I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm not living my life thinking to myself, oh man, what if I'm not? What if I'm not? It's like, no, like the whole purpose of this faith is to have faith.
Yeah.
It's the substance of things hoped for,
Right.
the evidence of things that's not seen.
Yeah.
And I have quite a bit of evidence to prove that my life is not my own.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I have quite a bit of evidence to show that there has to be a God.
Yes. Yeah.
I can think of many things that were just completely out of my hands.
Yeah.
That had it not been for God, I
Yeah.
literally have no idea where I'd be. So
Yeah. I
I'm
literally
good.
said that to her yesterday, day before yesterday. We were in text message just because I have some friends that are struggling, or they've, in lack of better sense, left the faith. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand that. Like, I don't fully understand that, because it's like maybe I could be in a season where I'm like mad at God and I'm not like I'm not talking to you right now because of situations or whatever. But I can never be at a place where I'm like, I don't believe there's God. Like, I've seen too much. He's done too much, like, that I can't explain at all.
Yeah.
In my life, around other people's lives, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. To be able to say no, I don't have anything. It's like, what? How? There's so much that is unexplainable.
Number one reason why people leave God is disappointment.
Yeah.
Disappointment is poison to the life of any believer.
Disappointment in God.
Disappointment
in the results.
In results. I think that when we create expectations that are unsubmitted to God, and those expectations are not met, it draws us into places of disappointment.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that in my journey and what I've seen, I've noticed that as a pretty consistent pattern, especially with people who decide to leave the faith.
Yeah.
That they're essentially mad at God for not meeting their expectation.
Yeah.
And the whole point of this is to live lives that are yielded and submitted to Him first.
Yeah.
I think there is a unspoken reality that we have that God is supposed to be yielded and submitted to us. And we're not yielded and submitted to God.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
That's, yeah.
And that's wild, because I can remember clearly moments in life where I was disappointed. I was mad with God, but I also remember standing in front of the bathroom mirror and being like, yeah, I'm mad with you right now, God, but where I'm going to go.
And He loves that.
I'm not going nowhere.
He loves that. If Jesus can stand in the Garden of Gethsemane and be like, take this cup from me.
Yeah.
This is God.
Yeah.
And even He reached a moment in His journey where it was like, woo, this is a lot. Like, I don't understand this. Take this cup of suffering from me.
Yeah.
Right? I think that we should never be too spiritual that we forget that our human selves are gonna hurt, that we're gonna have pain, we're gonna have trauma, we're gonna have disappointments. All these things exist, right? But it's about surrender, right? What did Jesus model to us? He's like, take this cup from me. And then later he's like, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. There was a joy that had to have come over him to know that in this moment, what I'm crying about now, I'll be laughing about later, because God doesn't send me through anything that he doesn't intend for me to get through. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality. I think sometimes we give up too soon. Yeah. And in giving up too soon, we actually never see God for who he is.
Yeah, it makes me think about that. It's this little picture of the guy that's he's a miner. He's mining. And he's in the tunnel. He's mining, and you saw how he's been digging a long time. You see this big old trail, and there's a huge diamond right on the other side of this wall. If he just hit it one more time, he's gonna get access to the diamond.
Wow.
But it's like, but he stopped. And he put it down. He's about to walk away, and it's like, dude, you're right there. If you just continue to press, you're right there.
You've got to know, man, that there's something on the other side. The scripture says God's not a man that he'll lie. Yeah. Neither is he the son of man that he must repent, which says to me, God does nothing on mistake. Yeah. Right? Like, he doesn't have to come back and be like, dang, I didn't mean to do that. My bad. Or, I didn't say that right. Hold on. Let me try to say it another way. It's not God. He's like, no, what I say and what I do, I'm doing it intentionally. Like, I don't lie. Like, I'm not going to have to come back. If you actually know me for who I am, you'll find out I will never have to come back and apologize. You'll thank me before you, you know what I mean? Before you will expect an apology, you know? Good. That's why Paul's like, hey, it was good. It's good I was afflicted. You know what I mean?
We don't like to talk about that.
Had I not been, like, I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known him like I know him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's something about getting beyond, like, I see it all through the scriptures. It's like, man, when any great man or woman decided to exercise faith that went beyond their circumstance, beyond their situation, beyond how they felt, that's when they saw God. Because it's really not until you get to the ending of yourself that you get to the beginning of God. That's why Paul's like, he's like, man, 3 times I asked God, I'm like, pull this thorn out of my foot, like, take this thorn from me. And God's like, nah, not doing it. And I can't do it because if I take this thorn, you will no longer need me. In fact, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. So sometimes we actually have to settle in the reality that God allows us to get to the end of ourselves so that we can then experience the essence and the fullness of who he really is. Because we don't know God in full strength. We don't. If I'm strong, I don't really know God. Because I'm going to naturally trust myself more. But it's not until I get to the end of myself. It's not until I'm depleted. It's not until I'm disappointed. It's not until I'm hurt. It's not until I'm like, God, why? It's not until I'm like, Lord, like, doesn't make any sense, that he steps in and I'm able to truly see him for who he is.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
Got choked up. Were there moments in your journey where the vision of who God was showing you were to become, you weren't that person yet? If there were moments like that, how did you navigate that space?
Oh, yeah, many moments. I think the very first thing I had to do was remind myself that God's timing is right. And I know that sounds like so, maybe cliche, but that's a real thing. Like, God's timing is right. I think that become thing is a little tricky because, we grow up a lot of times, and I remember growing up and, like, my family would be like, I started singing, I'm like, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do all these things. It was almost like before I could really get mature enough to develop a walk in a relationship with the Lord and get a clear understanding of my identity and my purpose, there was already language spoken about who I would be. So it was almost like I never had the chance to be before I became. And I think being is so important. Because now what happens is, because I've grown up hearing this all my life, when it doesn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, I think there's something wrong with me. I think that I did something that caused it to not be what it's supposed to be. And not realizing that before you become, you have to be. You know? And so I can go down a list of many moments that I felt like it's not happening yet. I'm not there yet. This is not what I saw. This is not what I thought. And I feel like every moment in my life that I've ever gotten to that place, I feel like the Lord is always reminding me to just be. That in existing, in being, it's what that is just as important than the fulfillment of it, right? You know what I mean? Because before God does something with us, he has to do something in us. The work starts inwardly, you know? God looks at the inside. He doesn't look at what comes out of things. You know, he's not looking at the external. He's looking at what's inside, right? And so I realized that some of the stuff I was praying for, had God really gave it to me, I would have messed it up because I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't prepared for it. And so much of what I used to cry over and complain about and get upset with God about, I look back on it now and I'm like, he knew way better than I knew. Because I would have made a mockery of him. You know, in my immaturity. You know, I would have had to clean up what I messed up. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared for what it was that he wanted to ultimately do in my life. And so I hope that answers your question.
No, that's good. That's good.
Sometimes that inward work is happening and you don't even know it. Because he's using those thorn in the flesh seasons sometimes,
and he's breaking you. He's breaking you.
All those violent words.
Oh, I'm telling you, no, seriously, because like I was talking about performance earlier. Like I think the preventative measure for performance is breaking. God has to break us, because if we're honest, much of who we become, we put together ourselves.
Wow. Or other people put it together. Right? And so it's like, nope, break that. So I can assemble it. So I can build you and make you into what I called you to be. It's like the Lego piece, you know, you got the Lego set. And it's like, I'm gonna look at the box to try to put it together versus looking at the instructions. Oh, and what danger that is. I remember, man. I remember when I put together. I am not handy. My wife's watching. She will attest to that. She is Barbara the Builder.
Wow.
I like that. Barbara the Builder.
She's Barbara the Builder. I'm not ashamed of the gospel, okay? She will build. She don't mind. I'm too impatient for it. I'll do it, but I'm too impatient. So I'm the guy that's probably gonna look at the box.
I'm
gonna throw those instructions to the side. I don't have time to sit and read this. I can figure it out, you know. And I remember putting together this desk that I put together, and I was really excited about this desk, and it had all these pieces, and I'm like, I'm not about to sit here, and the instructions were just. It's like pages, and I'm like, golly. First of all, never order from IKEA.
I was about to say, is that IKEA? That's probably an IKEA furniture right there.
And so I'm like, I'm not putting this together. And I remember I was living on my own at the time. I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to do this. I got it together. And within a couple of days,
oh God,
that thing was wobbling, all out of place. I mean, I'm like, this is what I bought. And the Holy Spirit's like, that's what you settled for.
Wow.
That's what you settled for. It's not what you bought. It's what you settled for. And like, I think, right, like, it's so important not to rush process. Just the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. Like, it's okay to take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
And I think because we're so infatuated and so enamored and so driven by results and fulfillment and, you know what I mean, like the finishing aspects of things, and we forget that we were never called to the finish of anything in our faith.
Oh, wow.
He's the author and the finisher. We navigate the middle. So that means we are responsible for the steps in between, right? And God finishes it and starts it, right? That's why he gives us a manual. That's why he gives us instruction, because if we follow this, we'll end up where he wants us to be.
Yeah.
You know, and then you don't have to be like me and you have to just throw it away or take it apart altogether. Now you got screws that's stripped and all the things, so you can't even do nothing with it because you rather rushed the process versus taking your time and following the instructions that were there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right. If you could, in closing, we'll just do one
This
closing.
has
We
been
won't
fun.
do a Baptist 3-part closing. What would you say to someone who feels called to something, but they're scared and they feel unprepared, unformed, unfinished to do what God's put in their heart to do?
I would tell them, start. Sounds so simple. But if we're honest, I think what prevents us from starting is actually thinking about what it's going to take to keep it going. I know for me, that's my story, right? It's like I procrastinated not because starting was a problem. I procrastinated because I felt like I had to finish it. And again, God had to teach me, you don't finish nothing around here. I'll handle it. I just need you to exercise your faith and get started. And so what I'll say is get going with what you have. Get going with what you got. You know, if all you have is prayer, then pray until you have faith to believe that God can use you to do what he's calling you to do. If all you have is writing, you know, I remember there was a season where all I had was like I didn't know what to do, but I had a pen and I had a paper. And I'm like, I'm going to write this out until I can see it. I think you have to be intentional about seeing it before you see it. Right?
Yep.
And however that looks for you, right? Like I said, it could be in prayer, it can be in journaling, it can be in talking it out with friends. You know, sometimes that helps too. Just being like, hey, I feel like I got this idea. I feel like God's put something on my heart. And just talking it out. It has to become real to you. And the moment something becomes real to you, I remember when we started our church at the very beginning, I was still just like, man, like, how am I going to do this? Like, this is like, Lord, you want me to start a church? Nobody's helping us. We ain't got no stream. We ain't got no money. You know, all these things. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, get the logo made. When I tell you, getting that logo made ignited something in me. It became more real.
That's him all the way.
It has to become real.
It must be in the Jacksonville water.
Yeah, it might be. It might
real.
be.
That's
It just
real.
has to become real. And so just get started. Get going with what you have. Don't feel the pressure to have to finish. That's God's job. Just get started in faith, and that can look many different ways. It doesn't have to look like literally doing it. You know what I mean? But like maybe it just looks like, you know, you writing the vision, as the scripture says, making it plain, giving yourself an opportunity to see it before you see it. And I think you'll be surprised at your progress.
I love it. I love it. So good. So good. Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
You go by PK, Pastor Kendall?
People be calling me PK.
I can see it. I can see it. Man, I appreciate the time, though, for real. This has been encouraging. It's been, I know for me personally, it's been encouraging and definitely things for me to chew on and help me to go to the next step that I think God has
Praise
for us.
God.
And so I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's
Even
a
if it was
pleasure.
just for me. Nobody else. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank y'all.
You have anything else?
No, man, we could talk forever. We just became friends, so
Yeah,
Facts.
yeah, for sure.
I guess we're gonna meet up for coffee or something in
Yeah,
Greensboro.
Yes.
Make it
Because now
happen.
you're stuck with us.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank y'all for having me.
Awesome. Well, appreciate the time. Again, this is the Unstoppable Visionary Podcast with your hosts, Emmanuel and Adrienne Threatt. We out. Let's get it. I know that you were encouraged by that episode. Pastor Kendall is such an amazing person. If you are in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, make sure to stop by his church, Revival Now Global. I'm confident. I've never actually been there, but I'm confident that it is a great church, a great community to be a part of. I want you to do this also. Like and share this video with somebody that you know will be encouraged by, or that you think that is an unstoppable visionary that would need this kind of encouragement on their journey. Also, don't forget, we have a brand new book called The Unstoppable Visionary. Go check it out. We'll leave the link below in the comments so that you can get direct access to it. We love y'all. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Be good, be blessed, give hope daily. You are unstoppable. Let's go.